All right. Vic, do you think we should go ahead and start? It's 10:02.
Sure.
Okay, wonderful. Welcome everybody this morning to the new grantee and staff transition meeting. So glad you're here. I am going to record this video for future viewing. If you need to go back and take a look at it, or if you want to recommend anybody else in your district take a look, this committee is for new grantees, new directors, new staff, and we're going to focus today on kind of some things that you need to do to have a well-running and structured program. Vic's going to talk about a timeline of events for your program, which I think will be very helpful. Feel free to take notes, but know that I also will share a summary of everything that we talk about today in an email afterward. And I'll also be dropping some things in the chat as resources for you as well. So don't forget to take a look there. If you have any questions, you can feel free to unmute or you can drop them in the chat as well, and I'll make sure to ask them to the group. So with that, I have given you permission to share, Vic, and I'm going to send it over to you.
Wonderful. Okay, so I want to welcome you to this meeting, and we've got so many new people. Heidi and I were talking this morning about changing the focus on these grantee meetings to use a timeline to help you do what you need to do right away. So we'll talk about things you need to do every day, once a week, once a month, once a quarter, and a couple times a year, and sometimes just annually. I'm going to be showing a PowerPoint, but we'll skip over some of that because I don't want to overwhelm you. Also, every one of these meetings, there's going to be time for you to ask questions if you're having some issues, problems, whatever it is that you can attend these meetings, and we'll do our best to give you the answers and help you out with any of these bumps in the road that you may be encountering. So let me bring up that PowerPoint. Okay. There we go. So we know that after school is very important, especially for our at-risk kids. We provide a lot of activities, and we want to keep this going despite all the the bumps in the road we've had. First it was the pandemic, now we're having staff shortages, and the bottom line is, these kids need this program if they're going to succeed. Also, if you're new, please provide, your email and cell phone number. You can do that, and then Heidi will capture all of that just so that we have contact information for you. Very important.
Yeah, and I just tried a couple different screws back there on that shelf, but it didn't grab either. So.
Oh, somebody needs to mute. There we go. Okay, so we have a document that's on the Alliance website. It's a grantee timeline with yearly activities, and also there we have a family engagement guide, and we want you to have quarterly meetings with parents so that you can have their support and let them know what things you're doing with the kids, talk about field trips, talk about their success. And then also ongoing is monitoring support and attendance. Attendance is very important. You should be taking attendance every day. And we also have a guide on the importance of field trips. And for those of you that are program directors, we have, a guide to budgets and finance that you should be sharing with your business office. The CASA system is now up and running. You can submit your claims. The window is until the end of the month. And those windows are every quarter, there's a window that you can submit your claims. And then professional development is ongoing. This session is considered professional development for you. So, make sure you're keeping track of that, because we can pay you out of PD for attending these meetings. Data and evaluation, that occurs, there's a local evaluation, and those are due coming up in the end of November for the last school year. We're always reporting a year behind. And if you need an extension, that's not a problem. Just let me know, after the 20th of November, if you need an extension, send an email, and I'm happy to provide that. And then childcare contrasted with 21st century. Although you can participate in childcare and 21st century, there are some distinctions between the two programs, and we'll talk about that. Okay, so daily, you need to take attendance, and that's reported on your quarterly claim spreadsheet and in the online APR data system. And Congress gets that APR data. So it's very, very important that we are keeping track of kids. And one change we've made this time is now we count all the kids. So if a kid comes in, and it's under 30 days, we still count them. So that means our attendance numbers should be higher than they were in the past. And then monthly, you should be looking at your building budgets. Taking a look, are there any supplies you need? Because we have funding in the budget for you to get any kind of consumables or supplies you need to work with kids on the lessons. Once in a while, I go on a visit and I talk with staff, and sometimes they don't know that there's money for supplies. And then what about your staffing levels? Do you have somebody that's going to go on leave? Do you have adequate staffing? You should be looking at that every month. And then quarterly, you want to be getting ready to submit your claims for reimbursement. And that takes a spreadsheet. We have a claim spreadsheet and a general ledger that's uploaded into CASA. And even on your parent engagement meetings, you should be taking attendance, and that's reported on the local evaluation about how many parents attended and maybe some of the activities you did. Here's just a little glimpse from our one pager, kind of shows what we've done. And this is actually from 2019. So our numbers are a little bit down from that. So our goal with this program is to make a difference in the lives of children. And for those who haven't been successful in school, we help kids to reconnect to learning in a lot of different ways through academic aid, tutoring, enrichment, social emotional learning, through providing them with nutrition, and in their minds, providing them with fun things to do. And our program is designed to be a model of after school, so that you can share these within your community with other people who want to start an after school program. And keep in mind too, this is a federal title program. And so all federal title programs focus on children in poverty and children with achievement gaps. That's why our focus is on helping kids with reading and math, because those are the two biggest achievement gaps that we have. And, of course, we have to report our data. And this was the first time that we did one window. We've got one more window that's due in February. well, before February, hopefully. And we're going to report outcomes only now in the second window. But what's nice is we're only reporting the data once within 2 windows. So we've already reported attendance, staffing, activities, and now we are going to report outcomes. So as we get used to the new GEPRA measures, I think that's going to be a lot easier on us. And what we're trying to do here is have a community of practice and provide not only assistance for students, but also support for parents with this program, and create a way that kids can reconnect. Because if we don't reconnect kids, they can fall through the cracks, and they might end up, when they get to high school, dropping out or getting involved with activities that can get them into trouble with the law, and we don't want that. Okay, kids love to do things hands-on, so crafts, STEM, outdoor activities, community guests, those are all very popular things to do with kids, because some of them don't take well to sitting in the chair all day and reading a book, although we want them to learn to read better and to read for pleasure. Here's what will happen when you're running a quality program. And we've noticed this time after time. Attendance goes up, even for kids that are chronically absent. Discipline incidents go down. It's not uncommon for a 50% reduction in the first year you do a program. Academics will improve over time. And if you use methodology specific to at-risk children, they're going to improve their academics even faster. Now, keep in mind, every day kids need help. Tutoring is not a good idea once a week. It's a good idea every day. Kids will have questions. Keep in mind, if they're a child that is getting Title I services, that means they're pulling them out of one class to do some reading or math interventions, and then the class they got pulled out of, they're not exactly sure about that work, so they may have questions on that. So every day kids are going to need help. And behavior improves with an after-school program. We've seen that a lot of kids that have to have an adult with them during the day often can function well in an after-school program because of the fact that they see it as fun, and they get a chance maybe to work with their friends. Okay, here's one of those things that I do as far as the contract. Your attendance is monitored, and by the end of year 1, we want you to be at 70% of what you say your attendance goal is. Keep in mind, I'm not making these numbers up. These are numbers that come from you and your application. And then 80% by year 3. Now, in many states, that number goes up to 100%, and I think that's not reasonable because of the population we're working with. So, and these are requirements that are in your contract, that you will enter your data in the reporting system, you will send your evaluation in, you will participate in site visits, submit your budget, participate in these workshops and webinars. And if you don't meet these performance standards, it could impact your renewability in future years. Any questions on this so far? I know it's a lot. This program is, again, it's a federal title program, and most of these title programs are handled via formula, although we don't have enough money to do that. That's why we do a competition every year. And here's just some federal statutes about complying with the rules for this grant. And keep in mind, there was a state law that required us to provide the federal statute for things that we want you to do. And, you know, everything we do is guided by statute. If I ask you for more information, you know, that's one of these things that's required by statute. And most of the time, I just need a brief overview. And however, depending on what I see, I may need to drill down a little deeper. Okay. So yeah, I'll skip over some of this stuff here. What you want to do right now is, you know, you probably already planned the program, but planning is ongoing. It's not just before you start. So every month you want to revisit your plan. Is it working? How are your kids doing? Are your numbers where you want them to be? Do you have enough staff? Do you need supplies? You want to communicate on a regular basis the activities to parents. For example, a real common thing is a calendar of activities. Parents like to get that calendar. You know, if you're having a Wednesday and somebody from the animal shelter is going to bring animals in, that might be a very popular activity. Work with the school principal and the school staff to support the kids. Ask them if there are any things that the kids need, or are they behind? You know, does this child need a little bit more help with reading, for example? And then you want to hold a family engagement meeting each quarter. Invite parents in, share with them what you're doing, recognize the good job that the kids are doing in front of the parents. And you want to be involved with the best practice committee, and this, of course, is one of them. You want to attend professional development events, webinars, and trainings. And then you want to submit claims on time with documentation. So, any questions so far on this? Okay. So we have a document for the grant. It's called the Grantee Timeline with annual activities, and we have a family engagement guide. When you do a family engagement, you should recognize the achievements of the kids. You know, if their attendance improved, behavior improved, academics improved, you know, give the kids some recognition for the improvement they're doing. Parents love to see their kids get an award or recognition for a good job that they're doing. You can partner with a local restaurant to provide food at these meetings. You could do a cultural potluck to share different foods from different cultures and learn about each other. You could ask parents to volunteer on field trips that you may be doing. That way, that helps you with your staff shortages. And of course, consult that guide to family engagement. Okay. Iowa was the first state in the country to provide guidance for working with kids with disabilities. And, we want to serve all kids, although some kids with disabilities maybe need services that we just can't provide after school. But, at least we want to try. So we have not only a letter from our attorney that you can take to the special education department during the day, we have a series of 10 federal guides for working with kids and disabilities. And, since we instituted this guidance, we have been serving a larger number of kids with disabilities across the state. And that's a good thing, because we don't want to be excluding children. Now we have 5 committees, and depending upon what cohort you're funded for will depend on, how many committees you need to be in. So if you've got 2 cohorts, you need to be in 2 committees. And choose one that's of interest to you. Now, this committee meets more often because we've got to handle all the different support issues that come up. Another thing, if you want us to talk about something at the meetings, just simply send an email to myself or Heidi and say, hey, we would like you to address this problem at the next meeting, and we'd be happy to do that. Okay. And the reason behind this new grantee and staff turnover is to reduce your risk status. The federal government wants us to do risk monitoring, and when you have a lot of staff turnover, that makes you more at risk. And this is put in place to help lower that risk level for you. And of course, anytime you've got, key staff turning over, send me an email. Let me know what's going on. Because we don't want to have happen that you've got a report due and all of a sudden the emails start coming back to me because that person has left and I have no idea who's doing this. Because then what we might have to do is write a letter of non-compliance, and that's not good for you long term. Okay, so here's the official changes in key persons. What we really need is, a valid email address, a cell phone number, an office phone number, and program administrative building address. So just make sure that you send those to us anytime there's a change, and we'll be good. Okay, professional development. Iowa is one of the top states in the country for offering a large amount of professional development. Like I said, I was a teacher and I was a school administrator, and I know how important PD is to running a good quality program. We have a state conference and we are back to face-to-face, and we have sessions that we try to have that you can take back and use, in your programs. We have regional workshops, we have our committee meetings, we have a variety of different trainings throughout the year to help you with your programs. Then as far as monitoring, we monitor the budget every time you turn that in. We have site visits, desk monitoring, and then in 2015, we started doing risk assessment. And in Iowa, we try to embed the risk assessment so that if we notice that you send an email and there's something wrong, we might have to follow up on it. Our goal is you tell us about a problem early and we can solve that problem before it gets a lot worse and becomes a crisis. You know, you can call us on that. There's a lot of different ways. And what other states are doing is they rely on you to send once a year a document, and they ask you some questions and they give you a rating. But waiting a year is not the same thing as solving a problem before it becomes something that puts you at risk. Okay. Now, a lot of the site visit requirements are already posted online. I don't like there to be surprises. So you can take a look at the department website on those site visit documents. The one we're going to be doing this school year is the 11-page checklist, and that's all aligned with federal statute of things you need to be doing as a quality program. So you can take a look at that and, you know, be ready. And if you have a question on any of that, just shoot me an email and I'm happy to you know, give you a quick call and we can talk about it. Because that checklist doesn't have all the ways that you can meet those. It's just, there's a few suggestions on there, but a lot of times you may be doing something and I say, yeah, that meets it. You're good. The goal here is not to try to find fault with your programs, but to try to get you guys to be the highest quality because that benefits the kids. And what I like about site visits is I look for good things you're doing and I try to encourage you to do a session at the conference. Okay, here's some things that we have to do. And the feds were checking on us last week on this, and they want to know, do we have regular systematic reviews of sub-grantees and monitor you for compliance with federal statutes, regulations, and yes, we do. And over on the left are all those federal statutes that require us to do that. In fact, Iowa has been doing so well that in 2019, they put together a new director's toolkit, and there's 2 examples of best practice from Iowa. And one of them is our monitoring plan, which I showed you a little sample of. And then the other one is our sustainability plan. So that's pretty good from a little state that we've got 2 examples. Some of those big states, they don't have any examples from. Somebody's getting feedback. I wonder who that is. Please mute if you're not talking. Thank you. So one of the things too that really in Iowa makes a big difference is working with community partners. Here's just an example of working with Department of Natural Resources. You know, they can provide outside education to teach kids about nature, about ecology. And, you know, there's just so many partners that can enrich your program out there. Another one is community colleges. Community colleges have programs for adults. Maybe they need to finish high school. Maybe they need, you know, there's other courses that maybe they want to get a job to improve their skill level. All of those things can be provided by the community college. They can come in one of your parent engagement meetings and share what they offer. Plus, when you go down to talk with the colleges, ask them if they have any college students that could volunteer, or maybe you could hire some college students for your program. So it's a terrific situation for you. Here's just an overview of the monitoring. Now, the one that I didn't talk about is the comprehensive visit, and that's a series of stakeholder meetings where I would meet with different groups, like meeting with your community partners, meeting with the administration, meeting with parents, meeting with staff, so that we get a good sense of how the program is making an impact on the community. And you know, this program is very important in Iowa because we're ranked first in the nation for the percent of kids under 6 with parents in the labor force, according to the Census Bureau. So that's really important. And of course, improving attendance is an essential strategy for reducing achievement gaps. And we do have to monitor attendance, although right now with the pandemic, we're not monitoring it as closely as we have in the past, but eventually we're going to get back to that. Keep in mind, after the first year, you should be at 70% attendance. So if you said you're going to serve 100 kids, you should be serving 70 kids. And before any reduction is ever made, you'll get communication from me asking, you know, about your attendance. So I try to avoid any drastic surprises. So in Iowa, we're a little bit different than other states. We have more community partners than any other state. We have a great reading average. We have good attendance, and about half of our sites feed kids a full meal. And some states don't even allow food in the programs, which I don't understand that. And we have a lot of resources available for you. And if you wanted to serve kids a full meal, we have a webinar that our Bureau of Food and Nutrition put together about applying. There's actually 2 programs, one for an after-school snack and one for an after-school full meal that you can tap into to get extra funding. Now, here's an activity that I often see. And, you know, when I look at it, I say, oh, okay, this meets the Iowa Core standard for reading, identifying words and phrases and stories. And that happens with what we call a read aloud. And then we have of course, the 2 site visits, and these are links to those. And this is what that checklist looks like. You know, are you providing literacy and education services for the families? And you do that through the community college. Do you involve students in different ways? If you have a middle school or high school program, we want you to have a student advisory group. However, with elementary, you know, we realize they're a little young for that. So you do want to involve them with volunteering, helping out so that, you know, they gain these skills. And then this is from the comprehensive visit. This is what we would ask community partners. And then my favorite thing is talking to the kids when I go on a visit, because, you know, some of them are so excited with this program. And with kids, they often give you an unscripted answer. Okay. Budgets and finance, we've got some documentation online about that. Make sure that your finance people have those documents that they can refer to. And of course, if they have questions, give them my email and tell them to contact me with any questions. And then once a year, we have our statewide evaluation. and you're reporting your APR data. One of the things we have a requirement on is 60 hours of contact time, because the research says that is the minimum needed to make a difference academically for kids. Now, during the Christmas break and spring break, or any time that you get a snow day, school is not in session, we only count when school is open. So, every year in December, we don't have, 60 hours for that month. We have maybe, 50 hours. But that's very important. So there's actually two evaluations you participate. One is your local one, and then the second is the state evaluation. In Iowa, we actually read every page of the local evaluations you send in, and it's about 2,500 pages. And then we aggregate and summarize that data into about a 220-page state report. And again, here's the federal statute that requires us to conduct an evaluation. And, do we have appropriate performance measures? Yep. And are these program evaluations made available to the public? Yes. So we post the state evaluation on Iowa Department of Education website, and we require you to post it on your local site, your local evaluation, and then we put all those URLs in the state evaluation. That's how we meet that section. Okay. And this is the main page for the Department of Ed, and we ask that you bookmark that because you'll be back here probably quite often. So for evaluation, the timeline is April and May. They're collecting data. June and July, they should be looking at any assessment data. August, working on the reports. And then November 30th is when the evaluations are due, but if you need an extension, that's not a problem. And then we go through it over the winter, and usually in the spring we try to provide that information. Okay, and in the APR, the most common thing is you're forgetting your password, but you can email me or you can email Tim, and we can send you a link. This is the PD report, and that helps you to make sure you're getting compensated for the PD that you attend. And this, if you're going out of state, you need to get approval from me, but it's pretty easy. I just need to know the agenda, the website, with the conference, and I need a list of the names of the people. Okay, and we try to provide a lot of free technical assistance for you. We already talked about that. We really encourage you to do field trips with the kids, and we've even got a guide, the importance of field trips, because that's another way of learning that kids can really get a lot out of. And we also want to encourage you to do STEM with the kids, and take advantage of this program's flexibility and try non-traditional educational teaching methods. And this is a picture that I took at a parent meeting. Here's a map of all of our community colleges, and anywhere you live in Iowa, there's at least a community college nearby that you can partner with. feeding kids is very important. You know, there's research that when kids have nutritionally balanced food, they are going to have higher levels of learning. So think about this. What if we could reduce the achievement gap simply by providing kids with, a good breakfast and, a good lunch and a full meal at the end of the day in the after school program? Here are some community partners. IPTV has a person that will come directly to your site and provide after school training for you, and they'll give you some free lessons. Iowa Ag Literacy has a series of books about agriculture, like My Family's Wind Farm, My Family's Apple Farm. And they're easy reads for kids, and you can let the kids take them home. And we also have a list of hundreds of partners that we provide, and we share with you the different areas that they provide support in, whether it be reading, math, science, whatever it is around the state. So here's an example of My Family's Wind Farm, and also the Ag Literacy has a game about farming. Okay, and then we have Iowa21cclc.com. There's a resource site there that there's an entire year's curriculum available when you go through there and do some searching. So every day we want you to get kids excited about learning, because they are the reason that we are here to serve them. Okay, childcare contrasted with 21st century. 21st century's focus is on academics, and DHS does not have an academic requirement. We're a federal program, DHS is a state program. We have a competition to apply, they have a form to apply. Ours can take 9 months, theirs is much faster. We have community partner requirements, they don't. So ours, after 3 years, you're going to get a reduction in funding. With theirs, if you get your training, they'll increase your funding. Now, you can take advantage and be in both programs. You just have a few extra rules to follow. But they are two distinct programs. And we do work with DHS. And if you attend our annual conference, you can earn DHS education credits. Okay, any questions? Now, Heidi's also going to share with you, for summer, I put together some lessons. She'll send that out to you guys. And you can use some of those lessons. Maybe that'll help you out. Let's take some time now to go over any issues or questions you may be having in your program. Everybody's programs are working like clockwork. No problems, everything's perfect.
Hey, Vic, there is a question in the chat. Are there requirements for advisory committee meetings?
Okay, are we talking, there is an advisory, there's different levels. There's one that's guiding your program, and then if you have kids on a secondary, then there's a student advisory. But you should have an advisory committee that helps you guide your program, and you could ask a parent to sit on that, a community member, and somebody from your staff and then the program director. It doesn't have to be a big meeting. And if you're small rural, you can piggyback on an existing committee and just say, okay, we're going to add on our, November agenda, we're going to do an advisory session and just talk about 21st century. So you don't necessarily need a brand new committee for this. You can make it part of an existing group that you already have and just have them talk about 21st century.
How often do we have to meet a year then?
Quarterly.
Quarterly?
Hmm.
And if we have a secondary school, then we have to have a separate student group, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. I see Heidi, you did a good job putting the guides up there. Thank you, Heidi.
Sure. There's guides linked in the chat for you. And there's also a link just to the Iowa 21st Century website, which I would encourage, if you haven't explored already, to block some time out to do that. There are lots of resources, templates, old webinars that are still very, very relevant to programming now.
So I know this is a lot, and I don't want to overwhelm you guys, but take things step at a time. The main thing is getting those programs up and running and serving the needs of kids. Anyone have any success stories that they want to share out? We can also talk about successes here. Did anybody solve their staffing problem? We'd all like to hear about that.
I haven't solved it, but I have been getting creative in partnering. So our program serves TK, which is transitional kindergarten, through 5th grade. I've utilized my 5th grade students as helpers with the younger grades. And then I've also started mixing some of the grade levels to where it's a variety of all the grades. And then they just do, it'll be the same activity, but more geared towards their grade level and their skill level that they have. And it seems to work really well. And the kids enjoy the mix up of being with the older kids and the younger kids. And it helps with our staffing ratio. That way we stay in compliance with that.
That's wonderful. And you know what? That's a research-based strategy. And it's one of my favorites. It was by an old guy named Vygotsky, and it's called peer scaffolding. But that works wonders. Always take advantage of kids helping other kids. And then usually it is the older kids helping the younger. Once in a while, you might get a pretty smart little guy that can help some older ones, but that's kind of unusual. But yeah, always have the kids working together. They like that. And it also borrows from Harry Wong. Harry Wong, gives kids a job, procedures, and kids love to have routines. So, every day, if you've got, passing out snacks and, making sure the lunchroom is clean before you leave, things like that. Rotating those jobs. Kids love to become involved, and it gives them a sense of worth.
We've definitely noticed an improvement in some of the little behaviors that we are seeing, especially when it's getting close to a transition time and the behaviors kind of pick up because they're tired of sitting and doing the same activity. But once staff realize that it's working for them, they're like you said, it's the best thing ever, and they love it.
Wonderful.
We have a new chess club that started this year. Our new school counselor is leading it. And they're going to partner with another local school and have a little tournament with them. And they're going to go to Iowa City later this month and participate in a tournament. And then at the end of the month, we're going to have like a little family engagement, get together and invite families and to play chess. And yeah, my kids are really loving it so far.
Good. And chess is inexpensive, and it's a great way for kids to see things from another perspective. And nowadays we really need our kids to get that kind of an understanding. They don't get it from the video games. Wonderful. Anyone else want to share their success?
We have kind of fixed our staffing issue here in Clinton. So the board for Clinton Community School District passed that paraprofessionals can go up to 40 hours now if they choose to help with our after school program. So it's kind of nice too that we're having the paras that have been working with the kids throughout the day. They know how the kids are doing, they know how they're feeling, and now that they're able to be an aide in our after school program and specialize in certain ages, it's really helped with our staffing program and staffing issues. So having those paras in those helping positions have really helped our program significantly. So
that's great news. Now, from my perspective, not only do I support paras doing 40 hours, but if you need to pay them overtime, there's no problem on my end paying them time and a half, because those programs need to be staffed. However, keep in mind, you've got local policies that you've got to work through. So you need to check on those first. But I just want to let you know, if you need to pay somebody overtime to keep those programs open and running, it's okay with me.
awesome. I will let them know. Thank you.
Mhm.
At our last PD, I had all the staff write down like the kids they were struggling the most with.
Mhm.
So, and then we did a whole PD about, how we view students and different stuff like that. And then at the end, they all spent a little bit of time writing a card, and we're mailing them home to the kids. And they could choose whoever they wanted to write it to. But we did say like it is a good opportunity to connect, and the vast majority of staff wrote to the kids that they're struggling with, and just, complimented something about the child. And so I'm really excited for that, because I think it'll be a fun thing for the kids to get in the mail soon. So
Wonderful. I like hearing about when we go a little bit above and beyond, and we try to find something good to say about a child, because we're educators. Our job is to bring out the best in children.
Yeah.
And that's how we do it, day
Yeah.
at a time, finding something good to say about a child. And honestly, some of these kids will get on your nerves, but you've got to suck it up and say, well, you had today you were on time again, and that's a really good thing.
Yep. And I think it helps staff too, just to like, there is good about every child. And yeah, sometimes we
Right.
all need a reminder.
That's right. When we believe that all kids are good inside,
Mhm.
and we're good kids having a hard time, that frames it totally different.
Yep. So,
I love that.
and all children love getting mail. So I'm excited for them to get the cute little cards. So.
Well, this was a wonderful end to otherwise required meeting. So keep in mind that we are there for you. If you have an issue, don't wait. You don't have to wait till the next meeting to send an email or do a phone call. And we're here to help, because the faster we can get you the help you need, the quicker we can make things better for those kids. Okay, and with that, I think we're done for today. Thank you very much for attending.